This little story, which I've named The Rabbi and the Cricket, was first told to me years ago by my friend Scott Rosner, who grew up in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn, New York. Yet since then, I've read other versions of it in several storytelling anthologies that got me thinking, about the old saying, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Then I reasoned that Scott's version, which after all actually happened, came straight from the horse's mouth, to which, of course, there is no higher authority. So here, straight from the horse's mouth, once removed, is the Rabbi and the Cricket, as told to me all those years ago. The Rabbi, as was his habit, was taking a walk one afternoon along Kingston Avenue in New York City, surrounded by a group of young rabbinical students, myself among them, as Scott recalled. We were peppering the teacher as we walked with questions about the Talmud, as usual. And as usual, the rabbi, in his jovial manner, would answer them, beginning with, "It is, children, as the popular saying goes." Then tell us the story from the Talmud where the popular saying originated. And so it was that day. We looked forward to this free time walking with the rabbi, listening to his wisdom that, like his flowing white beard, seemed to ride on the wind off to enlighten the entire city. In fact, I remember the exact passage he was citing that day. After his customary preamble, he stopped walking for a moment, put his hand in the air, finger pointing heavenward, and continued. "Just as the quality of a cucumber can be recognized when it is still a blossom." Then he took a few more steps and paused once more to complete the stanza. "A great person can be recognized from a young..." And suddenly, before even completing the sentence, he stopped, his raised hand now signaling silence. "Did you hear that?" he asked, as he turned around and then back again and around once more, trying to locate what? "We heard nothing, Rabbi." "Shush, shush, children," he interrupted. "Do you not hear?" Now, if any of you have been on Kingston Avenue, you know it's no different than any other busy street in a big city. Traffic whizzing by, honking, car doors slamming, people getting in and out, walking on the sidewalk, talking. Even the birds contributed to the dissonant symphony up there on the power lines singing. So what was the rabbi hearing? What was it that protruded through the cacophony of city sounds to grab his attention? "A cricket," he said finally. "Do you not hear the cricket singing, children?" And with his hand still raised like a ship's radar antenna, he turned round and round, seeking to locate the exact spot where the tiny musician was performing. When finally, he pointed. "There, underneath the bench. Do you not hear him now, children?" We strained our ears, listening just as intently as we could, until finally, "Yes, Master, we hear him. Now we can hear him." "Ah," sighed the rabbi, "so melodic, so enchanting, so beautiful." Yet we were the only ones out of the 40 or so people on the sidewalk just then who did hear it, as Scott recalled. Then, after a few seconds, the music ended, as the cricket was off to some new location to resume his performance, prompting the rabbi to gather us around. "Come, children," he said, "let us sit here in the bench for a while." So we all sat down and watched as businessmen and shoppers walked by in front of us on the sidewalk, Then the rabbi said, "You know, children, as in all things God draws our attention to, there is a lesson in this." "What is it, Rabbi? What's the lesson?" we pleaded in silence with just the expression on our faces. Then the rabbi reached his hand into his pocket. And when he pulled it back out, he was clenching a penny between his index and his middle finger, which he began to roll over, like a card shark, over one finger and then the next and the next, while eyeing 3 businessmen who were walking toward us on the sidewalk. They had just exited a popular lunchtime diner on the corner, engrossed in conversation about a business deal that they'd just closed. And as they passed us, oblivious to everyone and everything but this angle and that of their deal, the rabbi flipped the penny onto the sidewalk behind them, where it hit with a tiny ping, no louder than the chirp of a cricket. Yet as if on cue, all 3 businessmen instantly stopped and looked back, scanning the sidewalk behind them for a few seconds before continuing on their way. The rabbi was beside himself with glee. Then he looked at us and with a twinkle in his eye said, "It is, children, as the popular saying goes." "Yes, Rabbi, yes." "It all depends," he continued, "on what you are listening for, the cricket or the penny."
Thank you, Brad.